Really interesting topic, and it's a little bit woo woo for a lot of people. Um, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Daily Upgrade with Jason Andrews. My name is Jason Andrews, and I'm a hypnotist, which is really cool because I know how to change things on the inside for the better. And if you're here, that probably means that you like it when things get better, and you like it when you get better. You like it when people around you get better. And that's what I'm really here for. And today I want to talk about the spiritual slash energy war frame. And while I talk about that, I'll be doing some work under the hood, rewiring your brain in real time. And if you're watching this, you probably had some other things going on today. So we're going to take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment, and just let it all go. Ready? Breathe in, hold it, and just let it all go. Good. And the next thing we're going to do is just take all those thoughts, everywhere your mind has been up to this point today, and we're just going to bring them all in here so you can focus in. Now, as I said before, today is going to be, we're talking about the spiritual slash energy war frame. And this is just one frame. It's just one frame. I don't want anybody to think that this is how things really are, because I'm not sure I know how things really are. I only know what I can sort of test and experience myself, because really that's what all we can really know anyway, right? I mean, we can work things out through logic, right? Certain things that are logical, that has to be true. And we can also do a few things related to um, uh, mental. We can learn from others' experiences, right? We can observe what they've gone through. But most of our experience is our own internal first person experience. And that's a really valuable thing because, these days, so many people, they don't trust their own first person experience. They don't trust it. They think, okay, well, this is how I experienced it, but that's not really valid. It's like, what does everybody else think? And it's a consensus based reality instead of a, I know it's true because I experienced it. And it's really, really funny. I mean, I worked with people from all ages, and it's funny because the people I worked with, a few of the silent generation a while back, not so much anymore, but and a few baby boomers, and then Gen X. I'm a Gen X, and a lot of millennials, and a few Zoomers, and it's wild to me how different the mindsets are. Right? If you talk to a silent or maybe one of the older boomers, and you say, well, hey, this is how things are. This is what this is, and that's how that works, and this is this, and that's that, and they'll look at you and they'll go, I don't give a damn what you think. I know what I know. And how different is that from younger millennials and Zoomers who are like, well, that's what I think, but do I really think that? Do I really know that? I mean, because it can just be gone like that. But when they think that somebody else or the consensus or the group disagrees with them. And I've always been somebody, I think I have some sort of mental switch or inherited trait in my mind that I'm like, my first response to a lot of people telling me what's what or what to do is that sort of, screw you, I'm going to figure it out for myself, which can work, but there's downsides to that as well. But it's funny how that works because so many people will go, okay, well, I'm just going to be part of shared reality, consensus reality, instead of exploring for myself what reality is. And when I realized that, um, a lot changed in my life because I was able to explore both sides of that continuum. It's like, okay, well, am I going to be um, participating in consensus reality with others to what we all agree is real, am I going to be not caring at all what other people's reality is and just going what I experience as real? Or am I going to sort of go along this continuum and do different ones at different times and try to get a sort of triangulated understanding of reality? And if you followed me at all for very long, or you know anything about what I'm doing, you know that I pick and choose my frames, filters, and lenses based on whatever is most useful at the moment. Whatever is most useful at the moment. And I will often use multiple filters to triangulate a better understanding of it as a whole. And so when you do that and you get multiple filters going, you realize that there's a lot of experiences that you have that other people don't seem to have. And vice versa. There's a lot of experiences that other people seem to have that you don't have. And if you're insecure about that, you're going to want to make up those experiences to match others. And if you are rebellious and knee-jerk reaction against people, you might just go, okay, well, I'm going to do the opposite of that just on principle. But you can also use it usefully in order to get more of an understanding. And the reason I'm talking about all this today is that, number one, the spiritual frame, the energy war frame, it's just one frame. Right? It's not the only way. And so there is a reality that corresponds to this. And there is an experience that corresponds to this, but it's not for everybody. So I encourage you to explore with whatever reality filters are right for you. Now, all that being said, if you watched yesterday's, you're going to understand how persistent this is over time, over history. Right? They call it the perennial philosophy because no matter what happens, no matter what religions are going on at the time, it shows up again and again and again and again and again. Because there seems to be something to it. Either it's something that our minds evolved to like or adopt to, or it's something that people just independently discover again and again. I'm not sure which. But when you think about it, haven't lots and lots of people that you know or have heard of or have seen who are involved in spiritual matters essentially said the same thing, that there is that there is a spiritual or energy battle going on, and that that's going to affect how things turn out in the physical world. So I want to just briefly touch base on some ways to do it. Now, remember yesterday I talked about how there's in different systems there's a different number of levels to reality, but one of the more common is you've got the physical, you've got the emotional or intention, you've got the mental, rational, logical, and then you've got the spiritual. You get the spiritual level at the top. And generally speaking, the upper levels are dominant over the lower levels. In other words, this affects this, affects this, affects this. That's how the general theory goes. Now, once you sort of, again, it's just a theory, but there does seem to be something to it. And if you've noticed, different religions access different levels. For example, in my experience, Protestantism is physical level, intent and emotional level, and mental rational level. But they don't really get too much into the spiritual level. Now, the Catholics and Orthodox, they're big on the spiritual level. They're doing the rituals and the Latin and all this stuff. And like one of the, and the reason I say this is like, evangelicals, they're big on emotions, aren't they? You ever seen an evangelical preacher? Man, they will get you in a serious amount of emotions going. But like the Catholic Orthodox is very much up in the spiritual level where you don't necessarily even rationally understand things. Now, a lot of people who like to be here in the mental level go like, oh, that's stupid. I can't understand it. It's not rational or logical, therefore it's stupid. Now, I don't think that's true. I think there are some things up here at the spiritual level that just are not accessible or comprehensible to the rational mind. And I think a lot of times the evangelicals mistake the emotional for the spiritual. And I could go into other religions too. I think Islam is mostly, well, I don't want to talk about that too much. But the point is, one of the ways to get in touch with the spiritual level is by doing things that have an air of mystery to them. And by mystery, I mean the mind, the rational mind can't necessarily comprehend them directly. And so you get things like the ritual format, right? Catholicism, Orthodoxy, Episcopalianism, very ritual oriented. Whereas Protestantism is more, much less ritual oriented, and evangelicalism, it's like almost no ritualism at all. But if you cross reference this with some of the Eastern philosophies will say, okay, well, if you're clear enough, if you cleared out your system and psyche and soul enough that you can just access reality directly, you don't need any, like, you just your thoughts manifest, like your thoughts become real. That's just, when you get to that level, that's what happens. But until you get to that level, you need to do what they call, the word is upaya, and it means clever ways. And this is all the ritual stuff that people do. Because when you go through any ritual, from tying your shoes every day, right, it to the Catholic Mass, any of that, it runs your system through a process that you consciously don't completely understand, and yet it seems to produce results. It seems to do things, right? And that's really wild. That's really wild. So again, there's different ways of doing this, but the Eastern path tends to be more aligned with just, okay, meditate until your ego implodes and everything is super clear, and then you're directly there. You're in the spiritual world all the time. The Western path tends to do things more like, let's do these things, let's undergo these processes to access that, and then come back to the other levels. But all of them agree that there is a kind of spiritual level that needs to be addressed, or that really does exist, or needs to be managed and integrated. I don't think there's any doubt about that. For every spiritual tradition ever, they're all deep into that. So what I want to do for the next 4 minutes is, I want you to take all those things that I've said up to this point, and I want you to cross-reference that with all of your personal experience with any type of religion, mysticism, manifestation, any meditation, any type of that stuff. Like, cross-reference all of that. And I want you to add into that your own personal experiences with the unexplainable. And I'm not talking about you watched a video about somebody who had some experience. You can add that into, but I'm talking about your own direct experience. Your own experience. Right? Have you ever felt the presence of something that wasn't physically there? I think most of us have. Is that an illusion? I don't know. Is it real? I don't know. But take all of this information, and I want you to bring it all together, right? We're going to put it all here, and then we're going to do this. Ready? We're going to just smash it all together until it becomes a single unified thing. And then that thing can then, therefore, after that, expand into your world and guide you with greater understanding of various things that are going on in a more holistic sense. right? How did that feel? For some of you, you're going to go, what? And others are going to go, oh my gosh, that was wild. And some of you, it probably didn't even seem to do anything. And that's okay because different people have different responses to this type of thing. But what's important to me is that we all develop a more holistic and complete understanding and experience of reality on whatever levels reality exists at. I mean, doesn't that seem like it'd be a good idea? Like, wouldn't you want to have an understanding or access or connecting into all the relevant levels of reality? Because if you're missing any of them, then maybe you're missing out on something that's relevant to your own life, right? Maybe not. I don't know. But to me, the expansion into that area is something that I think would be a good thing. But you need to discover that for yourself. I can't make that choice for you, and I can't have that experience for you. Because one of the key things about all this is that the personal experience of the individual is paramount. That's what matters. That's really what matters, at least in this. So thanks everybody for joining today. If this was a little more obtuse than normal, that's okay. I want you to, over the next couple days, pay attention to how you think about some of these things, because I bet some of it's going to change. So thanks for being here with me, and have a great rest of your Wednesday. And then I will be here tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. And I think we're going to do, well, I haven't quite decided, but we may do another formal trance in the morning. So I'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 8:30.